Hello guys, welcome back to the 27th part of the Kotlin Newbie to Pro series. In the last part, we created an anonymous class of shape. So we created a class that represents a parallelogram, and with that class we were able to create our custom shapes on the fly. So we implemented a class here that is basically like our shape class, but with slight modifications. So we calculated the area different than for the triangle, circle, or rectangle, and also the perimeter. And we added a function that none of these classes has, which checks whether that parallelogram is a rectangle or not. Oftentimes our code has no errors and is compiling fine, but there can still appear errors at runtime. And we need a way to somehow detect those errors that can appear at runtime. And for that, Kotlin has the concept of exceptions. An exception is basically an event which occurs during the execution of a program, and that event disrupts the normal flow of the program instructions. So that means that whenever an exception happens, so whenever that event happens, it will crash our program if we don't implement proper error handling. So I want to give you a practical example where an exception can happen. In former videos, we often used the expression that we created a variable input and set that to readline. So we want the user to enter a number, and we have to cast that input by the user to an integer, so we can calculate with it, for example, because normally that input is read as a string, but to calculate with it, we need to convert it to an integer. And with that function toInt, there are many things that can go wrong. So let's run the program, for example, here. And now the program expects us to enter something. And let's say I enter hello here and press enter. Then you can see an exception is thrown. And it is a number format exception. And that exception happens here because we enter a string hello, and we want to convert that hello string to an integer. So we want to convert a word to a number, and Kotlin doesn't know how to do that. And because that toInteger function doesn't know how to convert that string hello to an integer, it has to throw that exception. And when I say throw, that is basically how we call it in programming if an exception occurs. So that toInteger function throws the exception number format exception. So that means the number format exception can occur in that toInteger function. So you can see all the exceptions that a specific function can throw when you click onto that function and press Ctrl Q. Then you can see a little documentation of that function, and below here you can see throws number format exception, and it is also declared when that exception happens, if the string is not a valid representation of a number. And that is exactly what we reproduced here with the string hello, because hello is not a valid representation of a number, so that cannot be converted to an integer. So whenever we use functions like the toInteger function in our code that can throw exceptions, then there is a chance that our program will crash at runtime. And to prevent that, we have to implement proper exception handling. So for that, I want to remove that line and set input equal to try followed by 2 curly brackets. So what try means is that Kotlin will try to execute that piece of code here, and if there will occur some exceptions inside of that code, then it will jump to the catch block, so catch, and now we can catch an exception. I will call that exception E, followed by a colon here. Now we have to specify the type of that exception. In our case, that's the number format exception, so number format exception, and followed by 2 curly brackets again. And make sure that IntelliJ automatically imported that line here. If not, then you have to type that line manually. So inside of the try block, we now tell Kotlin what we want to try. So we want to try to read in a line and convert it to an integer. And if we take a look at the toInteger function again, if that number format exception is thrown, so if we entered, for example, a string here that is not a number, then it will throw that exception. And because that is now in the try block, the program will not crash anymore if the exception happens. Instead, it will jump into that catch block and execute whatever we write there. So in that case, we want to just assign the value 0 to the input. So we try to read in a line and convert it to an integer. If that works fine, if we actually enter a number, then we will assign that number to input. And if we enter hello, for example, then we will jump into that block and assign the 0 instead to the input as a default value. And we can also append an optional finally block here, so finally followed by 2 curly brackets, and that block will be executed in all cases. So it will be executed when that conversion is correct, and it will also be executed when an exception occurs and we assign the 0 to input. So just to show you here, print line, this is from the finally block. And let's print our input after that try block. Print line input, just you entered and then input, and just print a line before that too. Please enter a number and run the program. So let's enter the string hello, for example, again, press enter, and now you can see first it prints this is from the finally block because that line is always executed no matter if that conversion was correct or not. And after that it tells us you entered 0 because we cannot convert hello to an integer, and in that case the number format exception is thrown, so the value 0 is assigned to our input. So when we print that input, it will just have the value of 0 in it. Let's run the program again and enter a valid number here. So I'll enter 5, press enter, and you can see the finally block is still executed. And after that, it tells us you entered 5, because 5 is a number that can be converted to an integer. And in that case, it will just assign that line to our variable input. And by the way, you don't have to use that try catch finally statement as an assignment, so you don't have to write val input is equal to that, but you can use it like that. But in some cases you might only want to only use that try catch finally statement to write try something and then catch something without that assignment, so that is completely fine too. And one more thing I want to show you is that we can actually create our own exceptions. So an exception, like the number format exception, is basically nothing else than a class that inherits from the main class exception. So if we would write e:exception here, that would also work. In that case, we would just catch all the exceptions, because every exception inherits from that superclass exception. And to handle specific exceptions, we just enter the name of that specific exception, like the number format exception here. So I want to create a very simple function here that just divides two numbers, divide a, which is a double, and b, which is a double, and that also returns a double, of course. And that function will return simply a divided by b. And every time you divide two numbers, if the second number is equal to 0, that division will not work because we cannot divide by 0. And for that case, I want to create my own exception, which is the division by 0 exception. To do that, we can just create a class here, which is just one line. So class, then I'll name that division by 0 exception. Make a colon after that, because every exception has to inherit from the superclass exception here. And in the constructor of that superclass, we have to write the message of that exception. So what that exception basically tells us. And in that case, it just tells us you cannot divide by 0. Please choose a different number. And to actually tell our divide function to throw that division by 0 exception when that number b is 0, we need to go into that function, and before we return, we check if b is equal to 0, and if that is the case, then we want to throw a division by 0 exception. And that's basically it. So when we now go into our main function, at the very start of our main function, and write println divide 5, for example, by 0, and run the program, you can see exception, division by 0 exception, and here's our message: you cannot divide by 0, please choose a different number. And none of that code after that is executed because that exception will crash our program, so we have to catch it again. So let's go into our code and write val division, for example, and set that to try. We want to try to divide 5 with 0. Then we want to catch our just created exception. E is a division by 0 exception. If that exception happens, we just want to assign 0 again to our division, and we just print that division result after that, println division. Just write something before that: the result of the division is division. Run the program again, and you can see the result of the division is 0. Now it doesn't crash anymore because we used the try catch statement. So exceptions are a very important topic of programming because they can happen in a lot of functions, and you need to know how to catch them and handle them. Your homework for this video is to extend the circle class to throw an exception whenever we create a circle with a negative radius, because that is not possible. So whenever we create a circle and pass as constructor argument a negative radius, then you should throw that exception, and that exception should tell that you cannot create a circle with a negative radius. What is important for that is that you can also throw exceptions from everywhere basically in the code. So also from inside of the init blocks. You don't have to throw exceptions only from within functions. Your homework from the last video was to create an enormous class of shape which describes a trapeze. For that trapeze I provided 5 values, so all the sides A, B, C and D, and also the height of that trapeze. I had to calculate the exact height so to make sure that it's a real trapeze. And inside of that anonymous class I provided the formula for a trapeze's area and also for the perimeter. And I provided a function that checks whether that trapeze is a rectangle or not. And that function returns if the side A is equal to the side B and the side B is equal to the side D. In that case, that trapeze would be a rectangle. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. If so, please leave a like and comment below. Also, if you have any questions, don't mind asking them in the comments so I can answer them. And yeah, have a good day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.